My condolences, sister.
My condolences.
My condolences, sister.
My condolences, sister.
My condolences, sister.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Be strong, be strong.
My condolences.
Be strong.
My condolences, sister.
Thank you.
Yeah, you have Sister Marshall.
Morning. Sister, can you give me your number, please?
Yes, 314
Uh-huh.
503 8235.
82 was the last two?
35.
35?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Shalom, everybody.
Shalom.
Shalom, Deacon.
Shalom.
Shalom, Deacon.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom, Deacon.
Shalom.
Hey, shalom, Deacon.
And again, my condolences to you, Sister Thomas. Let me get started.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely. Let's see. Are we good? Can we see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let's get it. Okay. All right. So when we all came into the truth of God's word, we learned that there was only one God, one spirit of God, and one truth, right? So let's get right to it. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4. Here, understand, O Israel, O servants of Jehovah. The spirit of God, our guide, is one spirit of God.
Because that's Tuco.
Can you, Mike, please?
Then you watch it.
No, I'm actually in the back Bible study.
Sorry about that. All right, let's go to John. John. Chapter 1, verse 18. Right. No man has seen Yahweh at any time. The only begotten servant, the one brought forth to serve, which is in the bosom of the Creator. He hath declared him. 1 John, chapter 5, and verse 6. Some juice. First John chapter 5, verse 6. This is he that came by knowledge and the lifestyle, the same salvation of the anointed one, Jehovah. Not by knowledge only, but by knowledge and a lifestyle. And it is the spirit that bears witness. After the spirit is the truth. Mark chapter 12, verse 32. I'm gonna act a fool today. We're gonna have to bear with me today, this thing. And the scribe sent it to him, well, master, teacher, leader, that has said the truth. The reason that there is one God, one creator, and there is none other but he. right? So the beauty of all that is the fact that everything that we learn can be verified in one place. Everything we learn could be verified in one place. Let's go to Baruch, chapter 4, verse 1. Verse 1. Gonna be one of them days, y'all. Bear with me. This is the book, the record of the commandments of Yahweh, Jehovah, the Spirit, one, and the law that endures forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. Proof is his Spirit's book. Let's prove it. Let's go to Isaiah 34, 16. Says, seek ye out of the book the record of the Spirit of God and read. No one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. The reason is my mouth that has commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them. Right? Zechariah. Chapter 8. What should I do? Just gonna be like this today, y'all. Verse 9. He's speaking. Thus said the Spirit of God of hosts, let your powers be strong. Ye that hear in these days these words by the mouth of the prophets, which were in the day that the foundation of the house of the Spirit of God, where we at, right? Getting that tour, the house of Jehovah, of hosts was laid, that the temple might be built. That's where we at, y'all. That's what we doing. Taking a tour of that house. Let's go to Deuteronomy 17 and 19. We just talking, we just verifying where we getting this information, right? And it should be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to desire the Spirit of God, his guide, to keep all the words of this law and these statutes, to do them. We're going to drill it in, y'all. First Esdras. Chapter 1, verse 33. These things are written in the book, the record of the stories of the kings of Judah, the ones to praise, the ones to be praised, the ones to confess, and every one of the acts that deliverance did, and his power, eternal power, and his understanding in the law of the Creator, and the things that he did, that he had done, and the things not recited are reported in the records of the kings of the servants of Jehovah and the followers of Christ. And we're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 26. Cursed, plagued, punished be he that confirms not all the words of this law to do them. And the people shall say, Amen. Right? So that's what we're doing, y'all. If we were to align ourselves with Yahweh and his spirit, Jehovah, we must study his requirements to do so in the fashion which he commanded, right? He set it up a certain way. It is all for our understanding. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 28. Verses 9 and 10. All spiritual, y'all. Whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand the doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk, that nourishing, that knowledge, the foundational knowledge as well. And them that are drawn from the breast. The breast is, that doctrine, the doctrine of the world. We getting out of that, right? We got to step into the spiritual. We in the house of Jehovah now. For precept must be upon command. Command upon command, line upon line, line upon line. In this place, a small bit. In that place, a small bit. Right? We also got this in Psalms. It's all over, but particularly in Psalms. Let's go to 119. Verse 4. Thou hast commanded us to keep thy commands diligently, daily, all day, all night, forever. 104. Through thy precepts, I get understanding. And for that reason, I hate every false way. Right? We're going slow, y'all. I think Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 6. Keep for that reason and do them. The reason is this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the people, the other people, the nations, right? All those other covenants, those ways, which shall understand all these statutes, commands, and shall say, surely this great people is a wise and understanding people. These ones passed over from flesh to spirit, because we're reading precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little, and we're getting the understanding. And we hate every false way, and we're going to show that to people, and they're going to get it from us. They're going to get that wisdom, right? Not only does this methodology provide us understanding, like I said, it builds us up. It builds that temple, that house of Jehovah. And it protects us from deception and from those who may attempt to dispute the truth, right? Let's go to Proverbs. Chapter 24. In verse 3. Through wisdom is an house builded. Somebody said that. And by understanding, it is established, set up. Baruch, chapter 3. Verse 14. It's our job in this house. Learn where is wisdom, where is strength, where is understanding, that thou mayest know also where is length of days and life, where is the illumination of the understanding and peace. Let's chill in Proverbs for a hot second. Let's go back in there for a few seconds. Hold on. Proverbs chapter 2, verse 6. We're going to let this book talk. That's what we hear. The reason the Spirit of God gives wisdom, it ain't mine. So he's talking. Out of his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. So I'm his mouth today. You're going to get it. Going to get that wisdom and understanding today. You're going to get it today. We stay in Proverbs real quick. Go to chapter 8, verse 14. Counsel is mine. Sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength. Proverbs again, chapter 21, and verse 30. There is no wisdom, nor understanding, nor counsel against the Spirit of God. Right? These precepts are pretty self-explanatory. I'm just giving it to y'all straight up so we can just have a conversation today, right? Isaiah chapter 54, verse 17. Spirit of God speaking. No weapon that is formed against you shall prosper, and every custom, language, tradition, every way that shall rise against you in doctrines and teachings, you shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Spirit of God, Israel, and their righteousness is of me, says the Spirit of God. We go on to Luke real quick. Luke chapter 21 in verse 15. Oh no, I'm sorry. What happened here? Luke. Sorry, it's Luke 21 and 15. Like something ain't right here. Luke 21 and 15. He's speaking still. The reason is, Spirit of God says, I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. Okay? That's that protection, that peace that nobody can speak against. But what happens when someone does attempt to second guess scripture? Or what if they try, to manipulate scripture for nefarious means, for selfish gain or for profit? And how can we classify behaviors that are clearly not spiritual, but fleshly, yet we still seek some sort of spiritual fulfillment or satisfaction through such behaviors? 2 Timothy chapter 4. We're going to hit this first part of 3 and 4. So that's 3a and 4. The reason is the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, and they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto fables. Exodus chapter 7 and verse 11. Then that king of sin, also together the wise men and the sorcerers. Check how it's written. Then the king of sin, the ruler of sin, the ruler of wicked thoughts, also together the wise men and the sorcerers. Now the magicians of bondage, they also did in like manner with their enchantments. Okay. And 12 right here, A and B. For they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents. Did we now? I know one way these things could attempt to be brought forth, and let's go to it while we're here today. Galatians chapter 5, and verse 20. Right there. Witchcraft. Witchcraft, y'all. We on it. Witchcraft. Witchcraft. Sorcery. Divination. What else we got? Familiar spirits. Evil spirits. Unclean spirits. What we got? Let's look at divination. Divination. Foretelling. Right? False prophets. Necromancers. What else we got here? What's an enchanter? What's an enchanter? Sorcerer. Magician. Wizard. You know what I'm saying? We got all these people here. A diviner. Well, what else we got? Hold up. An oracle. It's a mouthpiece. A charmer. Orator. Skillful of speech. These people. You know what I'm saying? Just get to it. Again, necromancer. A witch. You know what I mean? Okay. What else we got here? I think we get the picture. These are serpents, right? All these false prophets, all these false people, false thoughts, you know? God warned us about these type of people, right? And their actions, which pull us away from his wisdom, from his truth, from his righteousness. We got warning about these. Let's go to Deuteronomy, chapter 18. Verses 10 through 12, y'all. Deuteronomy 18, 10 through 12. There shall not be found among you anyone that makes his his spirit, his servant, his spirit, or his daughter, offspring, to pass through the fire, the desire, or use divination, right? Or an observer of times. Them familiar, them familiar spirits are, you know, seeing them old times, seeing ways, some old ways on a enchanter or a witch or a charmer or a consultant with familiar spirits, or a wizard or a necromancer, one speaking with that deadness, right? For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Spirit of God. And because of these abominations, the Spirit of thy God doeth drive them out from before you. So we're not allowed to interact or have any dealings with these situations, okay? These types of people, these types of acts, these thoughts, you're not supposed to be dealing with those. Revelation 21, verse 8. These, however, are the fear and unbelieving, the abominable, and murderers, and whoremongers, and sorcerers, and idolaters, respecters of falsities, and all liars. They shall have their part in the lake which burns with desire and destruction, which is the second death. That spiritual death. That's the one we're trying to avoid here in this house. We ain't letting no death in this house. You gotta wipe your feet off when you walk in this door. Acts chapter 8, verses 9 through 11. Let's talk about it. If there was a certain man together, Simon. What's Simon? Let me see what Simon is. Simon. God is heard. Uh-oh. So together, God is heard. You heard. Which before time in the same city used sorcery and bewitched the people. He like beguiled them, or he enticed them. The people of Samaria, that's Israel, that's us, giving out that himself was some great one, to whom they all gave heed, from the least to the greatest, saying, this man is the great power of Yahweh. And to him they had regard, they respected him, because of that long time he had enticed them with sorceries, right? With them divinations, with that foretelling, with that, you know, all types of things. Like when people go in church buildings, they're getting these revelations, you know, without the book being open. I don't know how that happened. You know, when these Christian leaders, they convince their followers, you know, to believe in a literal name. The name, we don't even know what the name means the way, but they say believe on the name of the man, Jesus, and they will be saved. This is heresy. And it's certainly witchcraft. Okay? These same fools will lead their congregations into hell by claiming the law is done away with. They literally are practicing magicians. How? Because they made the law of flesh, poof, disappear. Let's go to Genesis. Chapter 19. Verse 14. Check this out, y'all. And Lot, the portion, went out and spake unto his sons-in-law in the flesh, which married his daughters, and said, up, get you out of this place, for the Spirit of God will destroy this city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his service of the flesh. Right? What does this look like? What does this look like? Because that was kind of a spiritual thing right there. So let's clarify what just happened. Let's go to Timothy, 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 8. Now Jannes and Jambres withstood the word of truth, so do these also resist the truth. Men of corrupt minds, reprobate concerning the faith. Wasn't trying to hear it. You know what I mean? They ain't trying to hear it. They gonna stay where they at. Matthew. Because it feels good, you know what I mean? That message. We can eat some sandwiches, y'all. Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. However, it's the Spirit speaking through this man. That man that they think is God, right? The Spirit said, think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Wait a minute. So you tell me they're not even great magicians, only illusionists, because they're actually still practicing the law of flesh, but the people just don't see it. They like David Copperfield. He's speaking about that man. He was an illusionist. There are a lot of illusionists out there working today. Let's go to Romans. They practicing witchcraft, y'all. Using their devices, right? Romans chapter 7, verse 1. Know ye not brethren. For I speak to them that know the law, how that the Lord has dominion, governance over a man, male or female, as long as he lives. Galatians chapter 3, verse 24. It's got dominion over us as long as we live. For which reason, the law was our schoolmaster to bring us unto JEHOVAH, that anointed one, that we might be justified by faith. Right? So let's see something. Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12 and 13. This the Lord they missing. This the Lord they missed out. Those illusionists, they put this law behind their back. Swift hands, right? And now, servants of JEHOVAH, what doeth the Spirit of God, your guide, require of thee, of you? However, to desire the Spirit of your guide, to live in all his ways, to promise him, to serve the Spirit of their guide with all your heart, all your desire, with all your soul, to keep the commandments of the Spirit of God and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good? That's a question. But now we know, because what else does he require? He's telling us what he requires. Right? He asking us, oh, you know this? Do you know this? This is what I'm requiring? Are you crazy? This is what I'm requiring, y'all. Romans 7. Oh, I'm sorry, because we're going to 5 real quick. Because when we were in flesh, the motions of sin, which were by the law of flesh, did work in our members to bring forth fruit unto death. So I want to go here and then here. So know ye not, brethren, for I speak of them that know the law, how the Lord had dominion over man as long as he lived. For when we were in flesh, can you mic please? For when we were in flesh, the motions of sin, which were by the law, did work in our members to bring forth works unto death. That was that one law, right? And the other law that we just spoke about in Deuteronomy 10, 12 and 13, that's obedience. So how does this work here? How are we looking at the differences here? Let's go to stay in Romans chapter 7, verse 14. Because the reason we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, so under sin. 22 and 23. For I delight in the law of God after the inward man. That's that Deuteronomy. That's the one we want to obey. So we delight in obedience. But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind, and bringing me into the captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members. So those are 2 laws right there. The law of the spirit, which is obedience, and the law of flesh, which is obedience. That flesh gonna obey itself. It's gonna obey those urges. It's gonna obey those lusts. It's mechanical. It's not gonna fail. That's what it is. However, ham and cheese sandwiches and BLTs for everybody, right? Okay. Because that law of flesh is done away with. That's what they say. But they still talking. They still breathing. Not realizing they're in the law of flesh as we speak. Anyway, I recently saw a video in which a pastor, or whatever you want to call him, he told his congregation, right, that their building was supposed to be shut down. So what he did was he asked his congregation for money for a new building that he saw in another city, right? I believe he said he needed around $20 million, right? Well, He came back, I believe, about a week later or so, and to his congregation, and told him that they had miraculously acquired the money or the funding for the building. Now that congregation, they went wild, like he putting on a magic show. He also said another church nearby that building needed funding as well. So what he did was he used some of the money he already had to help them. I think he gave them about $100,000 or whatever. The crowd went wild some more. He claimed that their prayers were answered, but I'm sure he made a sales pitch to whomever funded him, and he will certainly become rich from this endeavor. He and his investors. Let me show you what this witchcraft looks like. Deuteronomy, chapter 13, verses 1 and 2. That's what he did. Abracadabra, y'all. If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and gives you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or wonder come to pass, whereof he spake unto thee, saying, let us go after other gods, which thou hast not known, and let us serve them. Abracadabra. Magic, y'all. We got the money. $20 million in a week. All right. All right. Anyway, when we came into the truth and knowledge of the Spirit of God, we supposedly put our trust in his wisdom and forsook our carnal way of thinking to keep us out of trouble and under his divine protection, right? Supposedly killing off this flesh. However, through our own vain imaginations, we tend to make something out of nothing. When we seek after our own counsel, our own righteousness, our own evil thoughts. This is pride. This is also witchcraft. Poof. Poof, y'all. Genesis chapter 6, verse 5. And the Creator saw that the wickedness of male and female was great in the people, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his desires was only evil continually. Imaginations. Poof. Deuteronomy chapter 32. Verse 17, y'all. They made established covenants. They established covenants unto devils, not to Yahweh, to idols whom they knew not, to familiar idols that came familiarly up, whom your fathers desired or dreaded not. They didn't fear these things. They wanted that. Or they didn't care about things. How you want to slice it? Second Kings. Stay with me, y'all. Oh, I'm sorry. Second Kings. Chapter 21. Verse 6. And we made our spirits pass through the desire and observed times. And used enchantments and dealt with familiar spirits, some old ways, some old spirits that we put away, and wizards. And he wrought much wickedness in the sight of the Spirit of God to provoke him to anger. Dealt with them old ways, them familiar spirits, right? What does this witchcraft look like? 2 Peter, chapter 2, and verse 22. Poof, y'all, but it happened unto them, according to the true proverb. The dog is turned to his own vomit again, and the sow that was washed to her wallowing in the mire. They mixing in the mud. We loving it in that muck. We running back to it. We was clean, but we running back to those familiar spirits, using enchantments, that lasciviousness. You know what I mean? 1 Corinthians, chapter 6, verses 9 through 11. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verses 9 through 11. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God? Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, liars, nor effeminate. That's that flesh moving that spirit that's mixing your flesh, but you're acting as you're working in spirit, but you're just flesh. Effeminate, spiritually. Nor abusers of themselves with mankind. Because you're just gonna do whatever, use yourself however you will, right? Nor thieves, nor covetous, right? You're exacting jealousy over God's power, but you trying to exact your own power. That's coveting. So you want that power for yourself. Nor drunkards, stumblers in the spirit, stumbling. No revilers, haters, no extortioners, usury shall inherit the kingdom of God. And such were some of you. But you are washed, but you are separated, but you are justified in the way of the creator of salvation and by the spirit of our God. And for this reason, we must fast from witchcraft. We must abstain from sorceries. We must fall back from enchantments and charmers. Mortified is necromancy, that speaking with dead mind and spirit. The ways are played out. Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 5, and verse 2. How are we getting out of this? Follow not thy own mind and thy strength to live in the ways of your desires. Jeremiah, chapter 3. We're going to go to this because this is essential. Verse 13, even the Spirit said it's essential. Only acknowledge thine iniquity, that thou hast forgotten against the spirit of your God, and hast scattered thy ways to the strangers under every green tree, under every authority, everyone who teaches, or even your own thoughts, right? And you have not obeyed my voice, said the Spirit of God. Leviticus chapter 5 and verse 5. And it shall be, when he shall be guilty in one of these things, that he should confess that he has sinned in that thing. Proverbs chapter 28, verse 13. He that covers his sins shall not prosper, but whoso confesses and forsakes them shall have mercy. Ain't that what we're looking for? We must move away from pride by acknowledging the power and the importance of our alignment with Yahweh through his spirit and salvation, JEHOVAH. We could become his examples of righteousness and redemption, instead of the false images associated with sorcerers and witches and all types of people who trick unknown people into following their ways, who trick you by devilish means to take you out of your protection and your guidance that we're in the guidance that we are afforded by JEHOVAH. Right? Deuteronomy chapter 18. We're going to go in 14 real quick. Let me get rid of this for y'all. How are we going to use? Okay. Okay. For these nations, these people which thou shalt possess, hearkened unto observers of the times and unto diviners. But we supposed to be examples, and how we going to teach people? Because these the type of people that we got to go to. They hearken unto these ways. You know what I'm saying? Sirach, Ecclesiasticus. Chapter 21. Verse 8. He that builds his house with other men's money is like one that gathers himself stones, stumbling blocks for the the reason is the tomb of his burial. Tricking people out of their lives like a magician, right? That was those type of people. That was those type of people. Go back to Deuteronomy 18. Hit the second part of 14 real quick. But as for thee, the spirit of thy God had not suffered thee to do so. We wasn't here. We ain't here for that. We're here for another reason. Hebrews chapter 2, verse 18. We gotta be an example. The reason is, and that he himself has suffered being tempted, he is able to help them that are tempted. It gotta be that help. And we understand because we go through certain things, so we could bring those experiences out. You know? Acts chapter 13, verse 47. For so hath the Creator commanded us, saying, I have set thee to be illumination of the Gentiles, a light to the Gentiles, that thou shouldst be for salvation unto the ends of the earth. So God anointed us, or he gave us wisdom, or he chose us as well with, he anointed us with his wisdom to help our brethren to recognize and defend ourselves against witchcraft, right? We have to be able to spot these enchanters. It is our responsibility to call out these so-called charmers. 1 John chapter 4, verse 1. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of Yahweh, the Creator, because many false prophets are going out into the world. Sirach or Ecclesiasticus chapter 21, verse 7. An eloquent man is known far and near, but a man of understanding knows when he slips. We could catch him. we could catch him. We could be discerning the spirits, so we know when they yo, you seen my man yesterday. He thought he had it going on. He was trying to come in with some witchcraft and charming. He came in cool, like, hey, elder, I'm just here. He tried to come in real slick and got chewed up. An eloquent man is known far and near. People probably know him because wherever he's from or in that church, wherever, they probably hearing him talk like he know what he talk about. Don't open no books. But he sure know his stuff. I'm just throwing out verses, y'all. Tell me about Philippians 2. Shut up. But the man understanding knows when he slipped. It was a bunch of men in that back. I'm gonna admit I didn't have patience, bro, and I should have waited until I was called upon. However, it's something I'm working on. It's something I'm definitely working on. And I was like, nah, I want to bite too. There was some lions in the den chewing that dude up, and I wanted a bite. Excuse me. Anyway, he got caught out there. Colossians chapter 2, verse 4. And this I say, else any man should beguile you with enticing words. Okay? Hold fast to the truth, y'all. Stay out of those witch houses where they are practicing witchcraft, praying to a man god whom they conjured up with their lies. Hebrews chapter 9, verse 24. For that anointed one, for JEHOVAH is not entered into the holy places made with powers, made with hands, which are figures of the truth, but into heaven itself, now to appear in the presence of the Creator for us. Acts chapter 7. Verse 48. Howbeit, the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, says the prophet. Let's stay in Acts chapter 17, verse 24. Sorry. God, the Creator that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is the creator of heaven and earth, dwells not in temples made with hands. Numbers 23. He's telling us all of these things, and there's one thing that we got to understand. 23 and 19. One thing we got to understand. God is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. Right? So most importantly, in our personal lives, in our personal walk with the Most High God, let us refrain from that vain babbling of our own intrusive thoughts, right? Which removes us from the alignment with JEHOVAH. That lasciviousness, which draws us back to our vomit. That alchemy of our own reasoning, which falsely reassures us that we're okay, that we're good. We're lying to ourselves, y'all. Witchcraft. Stay away from it. Colossians. chapter 2, in verse 8. Beware, else any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Jehovah, the anointed one. Right? We don't got, this place ain't it. We gotta stay the course. It's a fast. Leviticus 19:31. Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Spirit of God, your guide. Let's not return. Let's not return, y'all. We got this way right now. It's our protection. Let's not return. Stay away from this witchcraft of our own alchemy, of our own conjurings, right? Jeremiah chapter 27 and verse 9. And for that reason, hearken not to your prophets, nor your diviners, nor your dreamers, nor your enchanters, nor your sorcerers will speak unto you, saying, you should not serve the king of Babylon. Huh? That's like saying, yo, you good. You're not in confusion. You're not in confusion. You're all right. You're making it work, I think. Let's be sure, y'all. Witchcraft is of a very peculiar issue because of its subtlety and vastness of elements. But given the understanding that you display, each and every week with your participation, I am eager to see the ways in which this particular work of flesh has affected you and the means by which you have recognized abstaining from such. Yeah. I want to see what y'all got to say about these things. This situation. Brother Wade, what's up, bro?
Shalom. I tell you what, man, that witchcraft, that's what I was in before I had even knew Elder used to teach. Or like, KJBU. And it's crazy because my first conversation I had with him, when I looked him up, we had like the same born day, So I'm like, yes, this is it. You know what I'm saying? I go back there and I'm like, we got the same birthday. And like I said, he hit me with a look, he rebuked that real quick. But it was a rough patch for me, because I was really, I was the type sit in the room and I'm like, don't nobody cross this line right here, because I used to look at the star, all that craziness, so this dude hit home. This hit homes for sure. Of course, just purging everything that I gotta purge after, a couple years after, it's still a battle, but definitely know how to discern who not to, who not to join to or whatever. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's all I really got for that one.
Yeah, bro. I appreciate your input, man.
Yes.
Shalom to you, Wade.
Shalom.
Right. Brother Daniel, what's up, man?
Shalom, Deacon Nat.
Shalom, bro.
Brother Daniel, and I'm a recovering sinner.
You love you, brother.
You too. Before I get started, I spoke out of turn too. And I'm like a fire ant. As soon as you breach my territory, I got to be on you. And I want to apologize, Deacon Khalil.
Yeah.
Also to Sister Fatima and Sister Cammy for bringing their names up in it. But it won't happen again. But that being said, Yeah, it's something that I wrestled with when I first came into the truth, because you still have this know-it-all kind of thing in your head, like you know this, know that. But as I learned, the word was killing all that off of my mind, and I threw it all away and fully embraced everything that I was being taught here at KJBU. So it can subtly creep in, let it, but you gotta stay in your P's and Q's and just stick to the word, and tell somebody come with this crazy philosophy or this over here and this mean this and this. I refrain from that. I really don't like when people send me videos based on that kind of stuff, because I'm not interested in it. I just, I can say you say beware of something new, but we've been here long enough to know what's what and what to refrain, what to abstain from. We don't really, I rather just stay away from it, period, because it can get weak. The weaker, the ones not that is strong, it can get them caught up, and they'll buy. It's easy for them to buy into it. But see, I fight that kind of stuff because I ran into some people with that kind of philosophy and all that. Pretty much shut them down with the word. They, one guy said, actually, I said, what is the woman? If that is if such is Adam is the man, then what is the female? No, I said, what is Adam? He said, 12 protons and 12 neutrons, something he said. So I said, so I showed him Genesis 5 and 2, pretty much shut him down. Then he ran with his 12 between his legs. So yeah, you gotta watch for that kind of stuff. It can really, because it sounds so elaborate. Oh, this, that. So you gotta be careful out here and not share it with everybody, because everybody, so that can really suck somebody in. I try not to share that with anybody, that kind of garbage with anybody. So that's all I had to say.
I hear you, bro.
Hey, Dick, real quick. I got a lot of brothers doing the same thing, and a lot of brothers text me, and just letting him know, as well as we have brother Jackson. You gotta love them for who they are. But what I want you guys to remember is this, and don't never forget this. All we trying to learn is, well, we just take our turn and eat. The thing is, a lion gonna be a lion, no matter what. So once you got in there and he came in there, it's the same thing. You a full-blown lion as well as me, as well as anyone else. And you see food, you're gonna attack. The only thing we trying to do is to where we just do it and we just do it in order. That's the only difference. So your apologies we don't need, because that's normal. You seen food, you attacked it. And you even seen old Big Tree. Big Tree was, but y'all, some of y'all don't know it, but when y'all see him, y'all see who Tree is. But the same thing is with that brother. Cool brother. But what we just have to remember is, when something like that happen, yeah, you wanna jump in on that and just get it. And all we do is I was gonna let him go with that one. And then if you see something else, just put your hand there, and then we'll go from there. But as far as apologies, we don't need that. We good, because it's just food. You seen the food, you seen it, and people couldn't help it. So that's why I just told you guys, hey, just fall back, let me take it. That's why I just did that. You didn't see me get on. It's not a big deal. All right.
Got you, bro.
I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, bro. Shalom to you, brother. Dick, what's up, Dick?
Oh man, it is what it is. Shalom to everybody up in the lesson. You, all the elders, deacons, brethren, all my precious tender sisters that's often here learning with us. Shalom to everybody. Man, I got a bunch of experiences with a whole bunch of different facets of life and things of this nature, especially dealing with this flesh. Some I want to say have been some pivotal points of growth and development, and some I'm very ashamed of, but they all been a learning experience through them all. And often this situation of being, I guess you say, duped or bamboozled by the flesh, one of many instances that I just want to kind of just bring as an hors d'oeuvre to the table is this last episode was in my Christendom situation. I call myself wanting to be an armor bearer to a so-called friend, almost like brother to me. He helped me out in a situation I was coming through, and I thought we was the best of friends and this, that, and other. But when we first met, we were rivals, and I wanted to beat him up when I first met him. And so we kind of bumped heads a little bit. And after that, he found out I knew his wife from before they even got married. And once we settled that and knew that, hey, we was just school friends, childhood friends, associates, I went to their church. And one day I saw the brother seemed like he glowed. And they were having a staff meeting one morning, and I was peeking my head around the corner like a little kid, looking at the adults doing whatever the adults do. It seemed like they was in this ominous type setting, and the dude was up in front of the pulpit, and he had on what seemed to be almost like a lily white suit, but I know the suit wasn't white. But I'm saying when he was glowing, it looked like he had on a lily white suit or silver and shimmerish, and he had this light around the type. But time went on, and I'm steady trying to pledge myself to honest, pure-hearted servitude to this church. Not just the man, the preacher, but to the church, taking on different responsibility to give him the opportunity to be able to quote unquote study more and dedicate himself to giving the word to the people. And I was taking a bunch of laborious tasks on. So as time went on, I started feeling guilt and say, hey man, we, and I included myself off in it, we telling these people wrong. We showing these people wrong. We need to do something different. And he started running from me, avoiding me, ducking and dodging. So when I finally did go ahead and get enough courage to say, man, I don't want to be a part of this no more, something wrong with this, and left the church. The same dude I called my friend, my almost brother, and even though I left the church and left him alone, and I knew he was jealous and envious of me from even the time of our bumping heads on up, I tried to overlook that because, there was still some good traits about him that I could utilize, whether it be tools or associates or, what they call it, when you know people that know people type thing. The term of me right now, but I'm still trying to hold on to him for that. And even right now today, bro, with me being associated now with Johnson, KJBU, and the House of the Lost Sheep, transitioning off into the House of Jehovah, and teaching and seeing my page and trying to share truth with this brother, he still don't want to open his eyes up to see. You know what I'm saying? He's still disillusioned off in that mind state, that the way he's going and the way he teaching and the way his insight is and knowledge is on the book is true. And even though he's lost his church, he's still pushing the same, I guess you could say the same doctrine, teaching styles via what what's that? Facebook or whatever he's doing now, and thinking he's still in righteousness of the Most High. And the more I try to show him and tell him, he don't want to accept it. So I'm looking at that as that's being spellbound. And I'm glad that Father had enough sense to touch my dumb behind and say, hey, man, don't end up like this man. Then to bring it on home, the thing that really woke me up was my car broke down, and he came and gave me a pull to go to the mechanic. And this brother led me through a graveyard. In the route to the mechanic shop, he literally pulled me and led me through a graveyard. So I took that as a sign that he's going to lead me to death. And that's one of the things that made me snap and leave him alone. So that's my little spiel on it.
No doubt that my eyes is open. I see this. I see what's going on. Thank you, bro. Shalom to you, man. I hear you. Sister Tanya, what's up?
Shalom, brother. How are you?
I'm good. Shalom to you and your husband.
Thank you. Shalom, family. I just wanted to say that I was the sorcerer. I was the enchanter. You did all those definitions. Thank you, because I circled all the ones that applied. I was skillful. I was skillful of speech. I was a wizard. I was a diviner. And I did it with my singing voice. Being in the gospel music industry, I witnessed firsthand sorcery. And I'm talking about, and I'm not going to say any names because I don't have to, but just think of the A-listers in gospel music, the big names. I saw many of them live in one way and on that stage doing sorcery. And that's exactly what it was, because they had the air quote anointing. And you could feel it all in the room. There was so much witchcraft going on. And I was part of that. And I have to own that. I have to acknowledge that and confess it. And so because I still have that power, I still have that skill today. I have it. However, one of the ways, I love the way that your question is, it wasn't just for us to acknowledge it and talk about it, but how are we dealing with it? How are we keeping it in check? How are we killing it? And so the way that I do that, obviously, is I stay in this word. I try to stay in the gym, and I keep my eyes open when I see the sorcery and the witchcraft. I don't listen to that music anymore. And I check myself by staying away from that. Elder Lynn always says, you got 666 ways, and I am still being tried till this day. But yeah, I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to own it aloud. And yeah, I was one. I don't have no stories of me being suckered by one. I was one. I was the source. Thank you so much.
No doubt, sis.
Hey, Deke, real quick. That's what you really call just true, just up as a testimony one, but then also recognizing the skill she has. See, but that's the thorn in her side that she always have there, and that'll keep her in remembrance. So it's the same as with her, the same as with myself. Because the same thing is, I have the skills to go out there to do the same thing. Well, I can't sing, but I think I can. But yeah. But the thing is once I'm out there, I know ways to where I can I can multiply money. And one thing with her is what I really appreciate with what she said. Because the same thing is, I can go out there and do the same identical thing and say, I won't go after small money, big money, but I get you in small money, and I would get you in big groups, and I can monopolize that. So when you can recognize what your issue is, as she's saying, and she keep it in check. See, that's all the Most High. That's all he's saying. See, one, she acknowledges what her skill is. Two, she keeps it in check. So it's just like doing no different than Paul. Paul can do the same thing. She's saying she can do the same thing, which I know she could because I didn't heard her saying. So the same thing is, all she got to do is keep that in check. The Most High gonna honor that. As soon as she walk in, he honored it because she didn't stay in that arena. Her feathers flew different, and she changed it. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. And then that's the beautiful thing. She acknowledges. Some people try to change and put somewhat an excuse in there. You didn't hear her do but this, but she said, hey, this was me.
Add up.
Yeah, this was me. Okay. Yeah, my brother.
Yeah, beautiful. I appreciate that, sis. Sister Elaine?
Yes, Shalom, Deacon Hicks.
Shalom, sis.
I'm thinking with witchcraft, what I learned was the zodiac signs from my family. And I didn't think anything of it. It was like, oh, you're a Libra. I'm like, all right, you don't know what it means. But if someone asks you, you'll say, oh, I'm a Libra. I didn't know what it meant. So it's not that, I was ignorant to the fact of a lot of things that's over there. But, we heard it in the song, so you would go and hold to that. Fast forward now that I'm, in the truth at my job, people are always from different nations will say, oh, the universe will provide, right, Elaine? I said, no, I don't follow any universe. I said, the God who made the universe, that's who I'm following. I said, so I'm not sure what you are following, but I noticed that they always try to nip and put that in when they're saying something. Oh, what's your birth? I don't follow birthdays or anything else. I said, remember, me and you are on different paths. I follow truth. And then she looks and says, oh, well, I don't really, I do a little bit of everything. And I know the spirit does. So I'm like, yeah, okay, but I don't. So I don't do birthdays or anything else. And they're trying to figure out, what do you do? So even for the holidays, they'll throw it in like, let's go out, but it's not really celebrating Christmas. I said, you don't have to try to appease me. I'm good. I'm following my God. I said, I don't go out and do any of those things. I don't give a gift. I don't know you. We just work together. So my only thing is, with the witchcraft is the zodiac signs that, I was brought up with, or throwing salt behind your back. I didn't know what that meant either. It was just learned from my parents. And I don't think, I asked my mother, what does that mean? She was like, I don't know. Everybody does. Yeah. And I'm like, well, why are we wasting salt? Because, my chicken is bland, but what is going on? So we did it out of ignorance. Yep. My mom wasn't in the church, they weren't in the church or anything, but they just did it because their mothers did it. So I didn't pass that nonsense on to my kids, but that was my only thing with zodiac sign. But then just watching out, because when people around you do things, you can easily get pulled into, those ways. So I just wanted to share that.
I appreciate that.
Fight that every day. All right.
It is what it is, right? Brother Henderson.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Deacon Hicks.
Morning, shalom to you, bro.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, shalom. Years ago, I was involved heavily into what they call numerology. Now, I got a question. Has anybody ever heard of In Pursuit of the 27th Man?
27th Man?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Now, remember, God's number of completion is 7. The 27th man covers in the number, gets close to the number of 9. And it's, I got caught into, when I was in that, I was experiencing what they call OBEs, or out-of-body experiences. And what brought me out of that was one night, I went to sleep, and we had the gas heater going. And there was 3 of us. We were in the Navy and living in a house in Spain. My soul, when I used to go down that flight path like that, I would stop before my soul would leave my body. Because if anybody walk in on you and check you for breathing, and they move your body, it causes your spirit to roam around looking for another entity to go into. And the bad experience I had with that was my soul, my spirit left my body, went on what they call astral traveling. And as I came back, I was standing at the foot of the bed, and my spirit entered my body from my feet And when I woke up, it was cold, but all three of us were late. We were like 3 or 4 hours late for going on duty. And that took me out of that. You don't have to worry about it again. I've been with KJBU since 2016. Usually when I'm up here, I never get in and give any type of testimony because I have more like what I would say, like a Joshua complex of sitting back and just observing and keeping the mouth shut. But no, the witchcraft stuff, I've seen a lot of it. And what the young lady was talking about salt over the back, and people like if a broom strikes your feet and spit and all this kind of stuff. Man, you're like, whoa. Hey, world it's really wicked. And I've seen a lot of changes from that time frame, especially after being, birth 2 years after World War II and watching the young guys being dragged off into the Korean War. Then it was our time to go to Vietnam. But I didn't get into the Middle Eastern portion, but I served in I was in a NATO command and served, and I was in Turkey for 2 years. And then I left from there and was in Spain with a submarine squadron. And I came back to the States for 10 days and left and was in Greece for 3.5 years due to where the State Department had paid for my billet to run this system there. It was crazy. I don't have to deal with it anymore. I'm sitting back retired, enjoying myself, and I appreciate all you elders, deacons, and everyone that's teaching, because a lot of the material that is being put out, some of it has come out before, but when it's coming back out now, it's more added to it for us to be able to know what we're to do in order to get into the kingdom. So that's my testimony on it.
Yeah, you get the milk first, you know what I mean? You got to get that foundational understanding. And then when you spin the block, you can hit them with that bread. Because you're growing and maturing in the word, so you can add a little more to it so that you could get a little more understanding. And like Elder says, it can go deep as you can let it take you. You know what I mean? So yeah.
One of the first things that brought it through was when he published the Paleo Hebrew keyword dictionary, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to take the investment on the new Bible and also the digital tools, and I'm getting in deep into that, and I'm working on something in a different way, and I would like to kind of hook up or link up with some of the male study groups that are going through and sign up and get with that. Because I don't mind studying by myself because I'm not one that's really into a lot of, in other words, I'm not starving for conversation when I see people. I get a lot of friend requests and they're completely out of the chain because it doesn't make sense. A lot of it. And that's my testimony on it.
Are you in the men's group that we have on Thursdays?
I haven't done that one yet, but I would like to.
Yeah, come on in, man. We can see it. Elder Martin. You have his email?
I got his email because there's a couple of things that came up that I wanted to.
Yeah, just email a request to join for the Zoom link for Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thanks much.
Even if you just observe for a little while just to see how we're doing it, you know. But yeah, we in there, bro. All right.
Yeah, I understand. And well, one thing is, you guys are not gonna lead anybody down the wrong path.
Come on in, that's what I'm saying. All right, brother.
Hey, no, thank you.
Sister Jareda?
Shalom.
Shalom, sis.
I have a question too. But I'm gonna ask after I say. So when I was younger, it's true what Sister Elaine, what she was saying about you getting dragged into it and you being taught those things. Because I remember being young, never used to like to go to church, like never, never, ever, 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 ever. And I remember my mom told me a story when we was in there, that she was holding me and I had woke up and slapped her and went back to sleep. So, that yeah. And then just growing up, seeing how like I was like dragged into it because I would just be like, I remember I was in 3rd grade and I was sitting across from this girl and I was like, yeah, just pray and everything, pray to the stars or whatever. And just silly stuff. And then got older into like zodiac signs and all that. And, the gems or whatever, like I used to wear that on my forehead, all that. But yeah, fast forward into the truth, I threw all that away. Because yeah. And then it was this one time I was speaking to my mom, and she was telling me about what the camp says, and this is in the truth, and how they believed and everything, how they, say God is black and everything. And I totally like, what? They believe that? Really? Like, and I totally forgot because that's where I was into camps too. So I totally forgot about it. I'm like, whoa, like, but yeah, like you definitely could tell like when it's not true. It's not true at all. But my question is so following and like leading onto your understanding, that's witchcraft, right?
Yeah, because you're actually just bringing thoughts out that don't really exist. That's not true. It's lies. You're lying to yourself. That's actually witchcraft as well. It's like, remember when I was saying poof a lot?
Yeah.
Like you're leaning to your own thoughts out of nowhere. Then it's not God's thoughts.
Yeah. Okay.
When you lean into your own understanding, you're not trusting in God. Trusting in the idol, and you're making yourself into an idol.
Yeah. Yep. That's true.
So you're actually being stubborn. Right?
Yeah.
And hey Dick,
yeah.
Can you go to Proverbs chapter 3?
It's about to
yeah.
All right, where we going?
Proverbs 3:5. Yeah. And can you read that for me, my sister?
Yes. Trust in the Spirit of God with all thy heart and lean not unto thy own understanding. Yeah, I was definitely thinking about this scripture. So yeah.
Okay. So I'm finna show you 2 more.
Okay.
So we're gonna go a little bit further. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 8 and verse 20. And then we're gonna wrap it up on the next one. Okay, you tell me what that says.
To the law and to the testimony. And if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them.
Yeah. So here go the key. I want you to keep those first 2 in mind, okay?
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna go to the last one in 1 Samuel 15:23.
I will go there.
And you're gonna see how this all wraps up into a bow. Can you read that one for me, my sister?
I drop.
For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is.
That's what he just said.
Yeah, and idolatry, because thou hast rejected the word of the Spirit of God. And
but see right after stubbornness and is.
Yeah.
What do that word they added in there say?
Iniquity or ass?
No. I want ass. What is ass?
Comparing.
It's comparing what? Acts of sin and what?
And idolatry.
So when we looking at understanding, we got to understand what understanding is. Witchcraft is tricky.
Mm.
It's really tricky. See, he was hitting all over it, but witchcraft is manipulation with spiritual forces that's outside of Jehovah's law.
Mm.
That's why it was real funny when we had Sister Frazier. She's sitting there saying, well, she's capable of doing it. And I truly know she's capable of doing it. And same thing is if people can sit there and buy into stuff like that, you'll see it. I'm going to show you this one last one. Just meditate on this one. Go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9. We're going to do verse 14. This is the last one we'll do.
9 and 14.
Yep. So we got to remember this is a device that they use. Can you read that one, my sister?
For the thoughts of mortal men are miserable, and our devices are but uncertain.
Exactly the point on what he's making. So their devices is uncertain. That's why he was saying abracadabra, it can instantly pop up. You instantly have something. Yeah, witchcraft.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So people are good, but you got to remember, people is good at doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
You're more than welcome, my sister. Thanks, Steve.
No doubt. Thank you. Oh, where you at? Where you at? Give me a second. Almost lost y'all for a second there. All right, sister. Deacon Khalil, what up, bro?
Hey, Shalom D. How you
Shalom,
doing, man? Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna keep mine kind of short because I was sitting here thinking about it and I was like, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff I was doing. So I don't really know where to start with it, but I'm gonna just talk because essentially, yeah, I was just like everybody else with the horoscope stuff. Because there's an app called Snapchat, and they big into that. They got that stuff on there. You can look at somebody's profile, and they'll say that they this and they that and the third, and it's heavily pushed on there. So I would sit there and get into that, be looking at the little stupid astrology chart they had, into that weird stuff. But then as time went on, I got into a lot of other stuff. I eventually got into like tarot cards and stuff like that, and like thinking I was reading palms and all types of weird stuff. It was a ton of stuff I was doing. And then it got to a point where I was essentially a drug addict. No, I was a drug addict, and I was sitting there having experiences that I thought it was doing something and this, that, and oh yeah, oh wow, I'm having out of body experience. I was going through all that type of stuff too, but it's all falling under witchcraft. And now, you know, that I'm here, the same thing is I also recognize that I guess you could I can speak pretty well. So by me speaking, you know, people say that I have a soothing sounding voice and all these other types of things. So when I speak, you know, it's to where I understand how I could be perceived. I could appear a certain way to somebody as I speak. So it's just really like ensuring that I'm just really just holding to the word. So if I'm giving advice or if I'm giving answers, I need to make sure that everything is coming from the word, to where it's not me just talking, because I can speak with somebody or just have a conversation and they could really be listening to what I'm saying, but it's like, okay, well, let me make sure I'm telling them right, because they'll sit there and probably take that based on the way that it's being presented to them, and that's dangerous. So it's like I don't have time to just be to essentially just be talking just to talk. I need to, when I speak, it needs to be, well, if it's about this word, when I speak, it needs to be for a purpose behind what's going on, so that way everything can be on board. It's not just me just, oh well, it's this and it's that, and then a person's thinking because about just whatever. Because I even was in way back when I didn't realize that's what I was doing, but yeah, I was in a philosophy and all that type of stuff too. So it was just a bunch of stuff that I was into, sitting there saying, well, all you have to do is be a good person and do all this, but that's all that's be a good person according to what? The flesh, that's impossible. So sitting there, but yeah, but yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. It's a lot of stuff I was doing. I don't got no excuse for it. I was just stupid. So, but yeah, it goes into, yeah, I just need to make sure I'm aligning myself with the will of Jehovah. And then as I navigate, I just stay with that and not going outside of it or injecting my own thought into it or thinking I'm doing this, that, or the third. More so just understanding what's required of me and sticking with this and then just keep moving forward is really all I have to say.
Just like Sister Frazier, you're recognizing that dawn that you have, that could that like Elder Johnson said, that is a skill that could be utilized for wrong and for which that's a device, and you could use it. And yeah, but you keep it in check and you use it for the right reasons. So yeah, I feel you, bro. I hear you. Appreciate your input, man. Shalom to you.
Yeah.
Shalom.
Yeah, real quick with Deacon Khalil.
Huh?
He has that skill. He has a skill, and that's one thing he got to keep in check. But he's as he's continually growing and getting older and growing and getting older and growing and get older, he gonna understand that skill, and that's why that skill is so dangerous. And he can sit there as long as you keep it in check, but you always know it's there. It's always there.
That's that thorn.
That's that thorn, and you know it's there. And you can see you're capable of it, and you have people later tell you, "Oh no, you wouldn't fool." And you can actually sit there. You look, boy, I could have flipped you up. but yeah, that's again because the same thing is if you come off and same thing like we know some stuff, some back history where I know with you, where you poured a lot of people based on that alone.
Yes.
Based on that alone. So that's a skill. But most people don't look at those as skills, but that is a skill. Okay.
Shalom, bro.
Shalom.
Mr. Penny.
Hey, shalom, bro. What's up?
I'm good. Shalom, sis.
All right. So, yeah, when you called out that word today, that witchcraft, my heart went to pounding. I was like,
Here
I
we
might
go.
have to get it. Yeah, I might have to get it off today. But yeah, so this is a situation where probably from both angles where I was doing the witchcraft and allowing myself to be led into it. Because once I came out the church and realized we were being fed lies through the church, and I was just like lost, searching, trying to find some type of truth and spiritual connection. And I went through all the phases, like the pro-black phase, yoga, the universe. So I eventually was led into actual witchcraft, where I'm like really doing the rituals, the spells, like literally calling myself a bruja, doing that necromancer, the covetousness, thinking, and which, I mean, it was weird. I'm like sitting here saying, I believe in the Most High, the Creator, but still sitting up here, making spells to all these different, these different idols and gods. So I mean, yeah, I was all over the place, but definitely that Matthew 6:24, you can't serve two masters. Every time I hear that, it's like hitting me over the head. Like I experienced that full on because I sure thought that I was gonna be sitting up here believing in the Most High, but I was practicing and doing everything contrary to everything. Because when I came out the church, I'm thinking, you hear that they didn't like tainted the Bible, they didn't, did this, did that with the Bible, so I'm staying away from it. But anyway, so yeah, I'm into all that. But there was so I was in it heavy for several years. And then there was a time where my husband, Keith, he was away for work in Houston. And he was kind of to the point where he was fed up with me into all this stuff because he wasn't into none of it. I tried to get him into it. He's like, nah, I'm not doing none of that. And so he was like, when I get back, all of that stuff better be gone. Like, that's it. We going by the word, nothing else. And I just would not let it go. I didn't want to give it up. I'm like, I told him yes, but when he got back, it was still sitting right there. I'm like making altars to my ancestors, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, he didn't say nothing the first couple of days, but he told me, he was like, the first time we have a little issue, I'm gonna go off. So yeah, something came up with us, and he went to, like, I always picture Yahushua flipping over tables. That's kind of how he went with it. He went left, like, just getting rid of all of it. And I'm sitting there looking at him like, you crazy, something's wrong with you. But really it was me bringing all that mess into the house. I kind of look at it like the Most High, like reaching through him, like snatching your child up, like, get your silly behind over here, like bringing all that nonsense into the house. But yeah, I mean, it caused a lot of damage. Honestly, because I was teaching it to my children. Thankfully, most of the four of them were too small to like really retain it. But my oldest, unfortunately to this day, he does not believe in anything because of all that confusion. And, it was also some on his dad's part too, because he had him in church on that side, but I'm teaching him all this stuff on this side. So it just caused him a lot of confusion, and because of that, he doesn't believe. So that's always like a reminder for me. And then just the shame from just the stupidity that I was in for so long. So now I just, make sure I stay in the word, and that shame is definitely something that plays a part in keeping me grounded and focused so I don't revert back to it. And yeah, when I just getting myself off of it, like when Keith came home, he said, we're going by this word. It was like just ripping the Band-Aid off. And I just had to expel all of it. And eventually through the Most High, through my husband, led me to the House of the Lost Sheep. So I'm definitely thankful for that. But that's definitely, one of my most shameful moments, I would say. But yeah, that's what I have.
Interesting.
Interesting thing that she can do for that son is he probably won't listen to you talk.
Mm-hmm. No, he doesn't.
But if you send him a letter, and there's two things you have to do. You have to sit there and show that you was 100% wrong, and his dad was half right, because his dad was taking him inside of a church, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you go to Hebrews chapter 9, verse 24? You have to incorporate that in there. Can you go to Hebrews real quick? And I'll even write it for you if you want.
Okay. Yeah, because I've definitely gone to him since and be like, I apologize, and I
But you
was
see right
wrong.
there? You see right there?
9:24. Okay.
So it's telling you Christ is not entered into holy places made with hands, which are similitudes. Those are similitudes of the truth. So you let them know, one, your father was taking you to the wrong building, but he, even though we both was lost, he was doing more so right. And all you had to do is walk out the building and know that you're the temple of God. That's why it says the figures of the truth. And then you go from there. You start showing him what the truth is, and say, hopefully, if you don't want to talk to me about this anymore, we just speak on this and that. But I just want you to understand one thing, that I was wrong and your father was half wrong, because he's showing you a similitude, which is you, and God resides in you. And I just want you to understand that, to where I can be in trouble for it, but as well as your father. All I'm doing is trying to right a wrong that I did.
Right.
And that's where you see right there, 1 Corinthians 3:16. No, you're not, that ye are the temple of God, and the Spirit of God dwelleth in you. and tell him that's all I really want you to know. But there's some other stuff I'll put with it. But the main thing is that's all you want to show him.
Okay.
That you was wrong.
Yeah.
And his dad was half wrong.
Right.
You know. So, and then you go from there. But he'll read it. Yeah, he might read it with anger or read it whatever. But most likely he gonna read the entire thing.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll read it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's nothing to say and say, you can respond to me. You don't have to respond to me. But this, I'm just showing you what happened.
Right.
All
Okay.
right. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
I agree. I think that's a great approach because sometimes the voice is not gonna do it due to the loss of credibility.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a letter would be an excellent approach. I appreciate that, Elder.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. No problem.
Shalom to you, sis.
All right. Shalom.
Brother, Sister Wooten.
After you. Shalom, Deacon. Shalom, everyone.
Shalom, bro. Shalom.
I'm going to try to keep this short because my wife wanted to say something also, so I'm going to cut mine kind of short. What I was going to talk about in witchcraft was I hadn't been in church that long in life. And so the little time I was in there, they have used me as collecting money. And that's the part I want to talk about for witchcraft. I think same time we would be out there to get money, and we had to collect money like for the pastor. Okay, once we get it, we have a bowl for the pastor. We have a collection bowl for the church. Then if they have like a special guest or somebody to speak to come to the church, they have a bowl for them also to collect. And that they would do every time, every Sunday. And then after that, once they do that collection, they'll come back and they just put a number in there. For like example, okay, today we need to come up with $300. And we short $300. Not saying what the $300 for, but they would do that. The number don't be the same every time. Either way, they would come up with a number, say we need $300 today. And when they do that, they get it. Every time they do it, every Sunday, and it was repetitively the same thing. They would come in, they would put out money we need for the church, need money for the pastor, and then once the gas and all that, they'll come back around and they'll say, we need this money or this amount for the special. We need this amount, and myself being part of it. And what I would see is that always be a family member will start off first when that last collection that they would do. It would always be a family member. Like sometimes it would be the pastor, sometimes it been the pastor husband in this church here. Sometimes it'd be like the pastor's daughter, but I would be a family member would get up and start off, say, okay, I got $20 more. And then they would start it off another family member, say, I got $50 before they know it. They always reach their goal though. And it was repetition to me. I said, now that I think about it, I said it had to be witchcraft for as I'm concerned because I was doing the same thing and that church still there. I have not been in there. When I left out of there, I never went back. But I know the church is still right there today. They still doing the same thing today. Different location. I got a sister that go there and try to talk her out of it, but she still go there right now today. And that's been over a year and a half ago. And they still doing the same thing. Another thing, me going witchcraft is like you might have heard of the mirror. You break a mirror, you got 7 years of bad luck. I grew up hearing that. There was one with like, don't split the pole, like you walking down the road with somebody. But anyhow, Deacon Hicks, I'm gonna cut it short there so my wife can get in.
As far as that, that when they taking that money, they was taking it. They were taking it out the left pocket and putting it in their right pocket, and it was an illusion. Used to entice you guys to give up your money. So it certainly was witchcraft.
I agree with you 100%.
Abracadabra.
Shalom, Deacon. Shalom, everybody.
No.
I was
doing the same thing basically as Sister Price and few others said. I used to do the, oh, this is my sign garbage, you know. I thought I was doing right until I came here and I learned that I was totally in error. And also, when I started going to church, I probably went like a couple of years, but in the beginning, it was like I came to a point in my life where I felt like I needed to change some things in my life and start, you know, trying to live righteously. So, what did I do? I went to the church. There was a sense of urgency for me to get right and stop doing all the things that I have been doing. But for some reason in the church, there was no one saw the urgency but me. And I remember wanting to be baptized. And it was like they were dragging their feet. And every time I went there, at that time, Joseph was going with me, and they kept trying to recruit him. And I have a hot head sometimes. And so I got kind of fed up one day and I was like, look, I said, you keep trying to talk to him and get him in here. He already go to another church. I need to be baptized. I'm trying to get. So she was like, well, it's coming up. It's coming up. We're going to get you baptized. But so once I did that and I went for a while and I saw that Joseph was, listening to Elder Johnson. And at first, when he first got into it, he was like trying to tell his family and stuff about it. And they were beating him over the head and talking down to him. And so, I kind of shied away from it. But then, I started to pray and, ask, the Father to lead me and guide me in the right direction. And so one day I sat down and I watched, some things that Elder Johnson had done on YouTube. And I said, this dude, that's different. He ain't like these other people. So I started listening more and more and more. And then Joseph was talking, well, we need to go get baptized. He's going to be baptized. And I said, well, yeah, let's do that. So I got baptized and I've been here ever since. And it's the best thing I ever done. But yeah, in the church, it is witchcraft because I always would, get kind of freaked out when they start jumping around and doing all that weird stuff and playing the weird music. And I just never really took to it and they never took to me. So that's my time. I'm just glad I'm out of all that. And the whole nine with the birthdays and all that, I learned better once I got here. And so it's been a learning experience.
I appreciate
and that's all I got.
Hey, I appreciate you, sister and brothers. Shalom to y'all. Shalom. Sister Tonya.
Shalom, Deacon Hicks.
Hey, sis, shalom.
Yes. Yeah, this was a good one here for me as well, for me to reflect back and everything. From a child, just growing up in the church, it was all witchcraft. I actually remember my mom first going to what they call a holiness church, and she so-called caught the Holy Ghost. And I would just remember crying and crying, like, what have they done to my mom? I just remember that. But as time went on, I got numb to it because I'm going every day. I'm going every week. I'm going 3 or 4 times a week. And, I got numb to it. But, so educated, so-called earthly educated, highly intelligent people, but they was just as dumb as a box of rocks. And running around the church and foaming at the mouth and calling itself speaking in tongues and all this foolishness and just a bunch of witchcraft. And I was exposed to that at a young age and for a long time, and thought it was right for a long time. And just looking back at it now, I'm so glad that I know better, and I know that I'm so glad that I'm out of that and I'm not exposed to that, and have also cleared my daughter away from that as well too. But yeah, and then what the crazy part about it is, they'll make you think that witchcraft is something like roots, as we would say in the South, or black magic or whatever. They would say in the South that's witchcraft, and the whole time they the witch. The whole time they were the witch. So yeah, it is really so glad to be up out of that. To bring it up to now, just like Elder Johnson stated yesterday. He stated yesterday in his message on the wigs. Witchcraft now, we try to justify ourselves and our wrongs soon as he says something, or we get a word from Jehovah, should I say, and it doesn't jive with us, and we want to do what we want to do. We know how to search the scriptures now, so we searching for something to justify what we want to do. So he pointed out to us on yesterday, that's witchcraft. And that's something that we need to make sure that we, or I should make sure that I check myself on, and that I'm not doing that. And yes, I have done it, because I wanted to do, my flesh wanted to do what my flesh wanted to do. So I needed a way out. So I used the word. So you just got to be on your P's and Q's, because, he's so, the devil is slick. Have you think you're doing something righteous when the whole time you wrong, and everything. So I appreciate that. And you brought out today about trying the spirits, and now even within the workplace or out and about amongst friends and family, out in the wilderness, people try to get you to still be in the witchcraft in some type of subtle way. So we have to make sure that we're trying the spirits. And for an example, with the zodiac signs, people at work would ask me, "Oh, what's your sign?" I was like, "I don't do that." They will go to the extent to really try to find out, because they believe what they believe, that they can tell what type of person you are based off of what month and day you were born. Like, that's just the craziest thing. And they will go as far as, "Oh, let's fill out this form right here. Tell us about, oh, what kind of snacks you like, what you like this, what you like that. Oh, when's your birthday?" I will not give them my birthday to this day. I will not tell them my birthday, because I know the reason why they want to know my birthday. So they don't know my birthday, and it bothers them to the point that, I'm sure upper management could figure out my birthday, but for just regular coworkers that I sit side by side with, they won't have access to that, so they don't know. But yeah, there is very, 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 very trickery out there. So I try to protect myself, and stay away from that. And one last thing off of topic, I just want to say this, because Elder Johnson brought out something yesterday in his lesson. I just want to make a quick comment on it. He asked the question, have you ever not felt loved? And what's the craziest thing about that was, someone asked me that same exact question maybe about 3 weeks ago, and I didn't answer it appropriately. And I thank Jehovah for bringing that out to me, because I shouldn't have answered it the way that I did. So I just wanted to say that. That's it. Shalom.
Just the beautiful thing about all of these elders and deacons is particularly this day, when we do this type of studies and gathering like this, is the fact that we can reflect, right?
Yes.
And we do that, the easier it becomes to recognize certain issues and work on them. So as I say every week, I really appreciate everybody for their input, man, for real. Shalom to you, sister.
Shalom.
Sister T.
Shalom, bro.
Hey, sis, how you feeling?
I'm good. I'm good. So this came full surface. This right here came full surface. And I just want to appreciate one of my brothers for the words that he spoke to me, because you don't think about the things that you say when you say things, or when you come in on stuff and you don't look at it, but your words can be a curse. You know, your words can be witchcraft. And this lesson, like, really full surface, like, made me say, hey, yeah, you was wrong, you know, and I was wrong. And that's something that I thank the Most High for shedding light on, so that I could fix that and get it right. Because you do things without impulse, and you don't think about how it affects other people. You don't think about how it's more so affecting your walk. And it couldn't came this right here couldn't have come at a better time, but it just really was confirmation. But also just thinking about the things that I was involved in. I was involved into some spiritual stupidness, doing, call myself casting spells and tarot card readings and all of this bull crap, and just in in ignorance, really in ignorance. And you feel like that you are embarking on this amazing spiritual journey, and you ain't embarking on nothing. Ain't nothing coming out of it but vanity, and just digging a deeper hole for yourself. But it's all, that's all water under the bridge, because I'm on a different path now. But I just wanted to speak that. Shalom.
Shalom to you. Appreciate your input. Again, keep coming back, keep talking. Sister Makita.
Shalom, everybody. Shalom. Deacon Hicks. Yeah, I grew up in a house with parents that were, which these teachings brings back a lot of remembrance. And my parents were in like the Eastern Stars and the Masons, and being young, not knowing what it was, even I had got invited to even join the Eastern Star, but for some apparent reason, I said, nah, it just looked like it was too much involvement. And then I didn't really even understand it. And one of my coworkers, she was into the Eastern Star. My aunt was into it. But it was just scary for me, because even with their dress attirety, with their outfits, that the Eastern Star had the long white, all this white, and the Masons had all the black. And then they would go to these secret meetings, or we would have to stay upstairs. We were all the kids had to go upstairs, and the wives had to be upstairs when the men were there. And when the women were there, they didn't actually come to the house, but when the women had it, they went to a certain secret place. But it was always so scary and so spooky. So, being young, you don't know. You just looking downstairs trying to hear it, or you sitting at the top steps trying to hear what's going on. Like, what's so secret about this? But it was just weird. But and to me, a part of that, what you were saying about the witchcraft, which that was witchcraft, because that was just like really weird. But being young and not knowing, and then not understanding what was going on, and just like you say, through the teachings, learning of that discerning spirits, these spirits out here, good and evil. But and I was one that was a zodiac person. I was always looking in the paper to see what today was going to bring me. And I was one of those who had the most prettiest moon ring, and walking around believing all of this stuff. And I was a follower of that belief also. But now, since I'm into the truth, because I just want to stay on the right path of JEHOVAH. and get all the wisdom that I can possibly get, because without that wisdom, you don't have any understanding. You're not building up your temple. I'm not building up my temple. But just to follow up what a lot of people are saying, you just have to be aware of your environments and the things, even through conversation, babbling. Like when people, your birthday come around or the holidays come around, and you tell them that you're no longer believe in that, and they persist and insist that they want to push it on you. So now every year I look and I was like, whew, I'm down to one person now. I don't get that invitation anymore. I don't get that greeting anymore. I said, my little list is finally winding down. I said, I guess people are getting the point, and then when I say things to them, because I think the last time I said something to somebody and they was like, oh, okay. They made it real short and quick. But I just had to let them understand that I'm no longer under that spirit anymore, that spirit of the flesh. I'm trying to walk in the ways of Jehovah, and I'm trying to stay on that path. But I didn't want to stay on here too long. But yeah, your teachings and the counseling is so spiritually needed. And I appreciate it. I truly appreciate it. And I'm just going to keep following the path that I'm supposed to go. So I appreciate all the teachings from all the elders, and all the spiritual advice is always well needed, and I appreciate it.
Appreciate you and your input. Yeah. That's what we're here for. So just
yeah. Thank you.
Sterling.
Yes, right.
Shalom. Sister Naisha.
Hi, shalom, shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
So, just to hear everybody, I was like Sister Frazier. I used to be a singer in the church. But the thing of it is, I really didn't want to sing. For some reason, I didn't want to sing, but I knew I could sing. And I would, I had somebody one day that was like, why you never show any expression when you sing? Because I was like, I really didn't want to sing, but I knew I could sing, and I would just do it just to be doing it, because I had to realize, now I'm sitting here thinking, my mom and my dad they just never pushed it on us to go to church. It was really my grandparents. And they did what the grandparents said to do. And like that Sunday morning, my grandmother, if we wasn't up, she was making us get up. She was making us get up, and we would, and you bet not fall asleep in Sunday school. That's what they called it down in South, Sunday school. And I was like, Grandma, why? I would sit there sometime and people be shouting and stuff. And I was like, why I don't ever feel it, like they feel it. And it was at my grandpa's funeral. And I had to sing then. I didn't want to sing. It's just, I don't know. It was just something that I knew I could, but I didn't want to. And my cousin got up and started just what they call speaking in tongues. I never, ever, ever, ever. And I was 20 something. I was in my early 20s. And I was like, what is wrong? I thought something was wrong with it. And it was like, he was speaking in tongues. And I was like, what is that? Nobody could tell me what it was. Nobody. So I'm sitting up there like, I started wondering then. It already, I would always wonder, like, why I don't feel what they feel. Is it something wrong with me? And, like Sister Frazier said, we was doing the necromancing and all that stuff, and didn't even know it. Even though I didn't show no expression. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. I was doing it, not even knowing it. And like I said, I grew up in it. Like even with Deacon Khalil brought that out with the fornication. Oh my goodness. Because I never seen with my parents, it was very bad. They was married, but it was very bad. And in my head, my little head, my mind, I would always say I never wanted to get married. I wouldn't get married for nothing in the world. But I say this to say that, things handed down from the grandmothers and the grandfathers, and it trickles down to the mothers and the fathers, and it trickles down to us. And we get that and we push it on our kids because I really, that horoscopes and all that type of stuff, they would even use it with the numbers, like they say in the South, I'm getting ready to go play my numbers, but they'll look at the horoscope before they play the numbers.
What about today?
They look at the horoscopes before they play the numbers. And, you know, I didn't understand because if something was going on with somebody, you know, they must got witchcraft on. You got to take them to the witch doctor. That's what they say in the South too. You got to take them to the witch doctor. So it's just a whole lot of confusion. Like we grew up in a whole bunch of confusion. And I just had to put that out there. I was going to try to wait, but I said, I got to say something. Because I was like, I'm going through this, and I'm one of them ones, they always say, you know, you so strong, you stop doing so once you find out something. I did, because I had started to, what's they call that, Kabbalah stuff. I had bought a book and was trying to do that stuff, and I don't know what happened. I was always one of the ones thinking I wasn't being heard. Somehow, Elder's video, I don't know how that video came up, because that IUIC, all those videos would pop up and I would just be like, no, this ain't it. This ain't it. So I'm just all over the place, you know, like we just be all over the place. And I'm like, this ain't it. This ain't it. And I came across Elder's video and I stood there. That's where I stayed, and I kept binge watching. I was just binge watching, going to work, wake up. I'm just binge watching. And I threw that book in the trash. I had paid a good little penny for it, but I threw it in the trash. I stopped right there. But I always hear people say, you know, I just can't stop doing something, or I'm just not like you. And sometimes if I'm stuck on something, I'm stuck on it, like the fornication. I had to come up out of that. Because in my mind, you know, I'm thinking, oh, you know, you're married, you're going to go through some things. It's going to be harsh because my father was a alcoholic and he used to beat my mom. So I'm thinking, oh, that's what I'm going to go through. So I was like, no, not knowing, you know, that little mind, you don't even know you're doing wrong, you know. But, you know, that's the witchcraft. That's what it is. So, yeah, I had to throw that out there. I had to say something.
I hear you. Yeah, so
it was a lot.
But that's the thing, though. That's the thing. We put ourselves out there. We get smacked upside the head. You were lost. You was wandering. You know what I'm saying? And that hook was out there, and that word was that bait.
Oh, I was all over the place. I was searching. I was searching.
Once I got there, he threw that reel out for you. Come on in. So you good.
Yeah.
Good. Just, you know, I'm good. I appreciate your input, sis. Shalom to you. Sister Devin.
Hey, shalom, Deacon. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Well, thank you. Yes, I really wasn't going to raise my hand at first. I was like, yeah, you know, I'm good. I'm good. Anyway, this teaching brought out a lot. Just how deep, and I think Elder referenced it, witchcraft is so deep and comes in so many different disguises. But if I look back on my beginnings in it, you know, my foster family, I was raised in Catholicism. That's like the epitome of witchcraft. And then when I came to live with my biological mother, she was definitely into the numerology and the astrology and soothsayers. I mean, so much so that she had charts done on all of her kids. So I had like this lengthy chart done on me. Then, you know, I searched it through New Age philosophies. And, you know, as I got older, trying to, you know, search for the truth, I went down so many different paths. And even in the workforce, right? Like sales is a big one. You're taught, I spent many years in media sales, and you're taught, you know, be a wolf in sheep's clothing. Like that's so deceptive, and using all of these different tactics to fleece folks out their money, right? No different than the church. So, you know, those things were embedded in me, you know, but when I fast forward now to how am I dealing with it right now, being in the truth, I think one of the things where it shows up and where my spiritual muscles need to strength, you brought out Deuteronomy 13, 1 and 2, and just the serving of the other gods. And then in Acts, you talked about how we are, Acts 13 and 47, that we're here for the light. We have that wisdom to be the light. Where it comes up for me a lot, at work and in home is when those that are in Christianity or whatever else, miracles happen and see my prayer worked, or, it's all the same God, things along that vein, that happens a lot around me. And just, knowing when and how to combat those times when that comes up, right? Like that's where I need to be strengthened at. And so, I'm gonna stand on these scriptures and continue to grow in that. But for me right now, that's probably the biggest challenge, just kind of dealing, when those miracles happen, see, my prayer, it was answered. How's it any different than your God? Just going down that path. So, and then the other thing, I'm gonna deviate a little bit. Sister Penny, I highly encourage you to work with Elder to write that letter. He helped me on a different matter in getting a letter out to my mother, and I'm telling you, that'll make your world a lot lighter. So I just wanted to kind of, encourage you to go, work with Elder on that. But that's all I have. Not gonna ramble. Shalom.
Thank you, sis.
Yeah. Sister Shantae.
Shalom, everyone. Shalom, Dick. How you doing?
Good. I'm good, sis. Thank you.
So I know that I was oh gosh, I was into a lot of different things, especially growing up in foster care. Um, my exposure to different things was crazy, but like I tried Ouija board, and I was heavily into like witchcraft, and when I was coming up, voodoo, I dabbled in that, and definitely the horoscopes. Um, so and then coming like going into adulthood, I kind of got away from all of that and deemed myself to be spiritual. So I was pretty much open for whatever made sense and whatever pleased my appetite. Um, and I realized after coming into the truth, I didn't realize how indoctrinated I was, because I didn't sit in church buildings for long. Like I would visit here and there, you know. But I knew that if I was going through a spiritual crisis, or if I needed something right from God, I'm going into that church building. Like that's where I knew to go. Right now, maybe 2 Sundays and then I'm done. And I had realized that going through a lot of these teachings and understanding how a lot of the works of the flesh move and how intricate it is, I had realized that it's a lot of stuff that was still, in me. Like I remember, just random stuff. Like I think somebody mentioned splitting a pole, where I have to remind myself not to do that because it doesn't mean that. It's like so engraved, right? Or walking and you like, oh, don't step on that crack, and you think of it, you don't do it, but you think like, oh snap, I used to, believe in this stuff, in the breaking of the mirrors and stuff. You have to like, your first mind is like, oh snap, and your second mind is like, hey, we ain't, that's not something we believe anymore. But just having to keep your thought processes in check to be like, hey, that's not even what it is. Like that's nothing, right? So I thought that was it's really cool to have my eyes open to that and to see it like in how it actually functions in my life and the different things that I'm learning. And then the final thing was I realized that Christian music was a major, if I had to say, challenge of letting anything go, it was that, because from a child, I had drew so much strength. Like it was, so my belief system was so heavily tied to music. And what I thought was God's music at the time, like Christian music or whatever. So that was pretty much eye-opening for me, how how tightly tied I was to that, and to understand what that is as well. And then with the soothsaying, like I'm coming up, I learned how to be a liar, just flat out bona fide liar, and I carried that into my adulthood. And I think some of y'all have heard me mention, especially after baptism, constantly that being like the thing that I've had to constantly battle with, not lying, like not allowing myself to tell, even lying to myself. I had learned, like I started doing a deep study on just lying and understanding that, like where it stemmed from, and mine stemmed from when I was a kid. So when you did the poof thing, I'm like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I would do to myself. I'm gonna, I don't like the outcome of something. I don't like something that was done to me. I'm gonna retreat in and rework it in my head, and this is my new truth, right? So I just I appreciate this study because it brought up, that was a lot. I know, a lot all over the place, but those are all the things that but definitely that lying and understanding, like that you doing that proof really brought it home for me, like, oh wow, so that's what I was doing. It wasn't somebody else necessarily telling me lies, it's me telling myself lies. And Sister Jareda, good job asking the question and leaning to your own understanding, because that gave me so much clarity. I'm trying to cry, but so much clarity on that, because it's something that I picked up as a kid being in foster care, and excuse me, learning how to let that go. So thanks.
I appreciate your input. Yeah, there's a lot. And that could be used as a device as well, like to trick yourself. So yeah, I'm glad you're recognizing that and you're working on it. You're staying on top of it. So that's the most important thing, sis. Shalom to you. Sister Patricia.
Shalom, Deacon Hicks.
Shalom.
I would just like to say that the teaching this morning is just, all I can say is wow. Because when I look at myself, before I came into the truth, I would always say, well, I'm not practicing witchcraft. I'm not doing any of those things, because what I was taught when I was coming up with what witchcraft is spells and, the cards and all that. And I knew I wasn't doing any of that. And that's being not the truth. But once you come into the truth, you learn a lot. And I've learned today that I have done most of, if not all of the things that was mentioned in the word, and all the things that the people have said about what witchcraft is. So it's just amazing to me how you think that you're not involved in doing something, but you really are. So I just want to thank God for the truth, for the word, and for KJBU bringing out everything, because I would have never thought that I was doing any of those things. But once you learn better, you do better. And I just thank God. I just thank God for opening my eyes, because I honestly would have never thought that I was doing witchcraft, not knowing that it had so many layers. So I just thank God. I just thank God. Shalom.
Shalom. Yo, Brother Edwin, what's up, bro?
Shalom, Deep.
Shalom, bro.
Great lesson this morning. He's looking at this witchcraft and sorcery, whether you know it or not, like the sister said, you do certain things you're not aware of that you're doing them. And I just, I give all praises to the Most High, for JEHOVAH for moving through the men here at KJBU and helping me recognize these things and pulling me out the grave, because I was spiritually dead to this stuff not long ago, 8 months ago, when Elder did a lesson called The Humble Man. I interrupted his teaching. I mean, Elder, like you say, he's a lion. He jumped right on me, but lions don't eat hyenas. And elder told me come in the back. I came in the back, and like a couple of days later, I got a phone call. I was on like a 5-way call with 4 different deacons, and they slayed me. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about when I say they slayed me, they pruned me, they separated me from what I was under. You know, they chastised me, they disciplined me, and that was the best thing could have ever happened to me. You know, I know that one brother that came in there yesterday, he was operating like a hyena, and lions don't eat hyenas. They just kill them. So I'm thankful that I was a lamb, and them brothers slayed me, you know, and I was teaching, you know, and one of the deacons said, "Well, let me see some of your teachings," you know, and he looked at some of my teaching, he was like, "You know, you teaching false doctrine." He said, "If there's one thing that in there that ain't right, it's all wrong," you know. And he said, "You willing to take all them teachers down?" I said, "Absolutely. You show me where anything I said wasn't right, I'm taking it all down." And that's exactly what I did. I took all my teachers down, and I've been coming here learning ever since, you know, because I don't want to be a part of anything that ain't righteous. Anything that isn't of the spirit of God, I don't want nothing to do with it, you know. So I'm very thankful for KJBU. I'm very thankful for these lions here. You know, like I say, they they mortified me, you know, and I abstained from all those things ever since. You know, them brothers really showed me. Like I said, I was on a 5-way call with 4 different deacons, and they took their time. They took their time, but they killed me. You know, each every one of them had a part in it. You know, and I'm very thankful for it. You know, so you know, I just want to make sure that people understand that hey, I learned. And when I'm speaking, I'm telling y'all by experience. You know, I experienced them lions coming and killing me, you know, but thank the Most High, you know, I came in as a lamb and not as a hyena or a goat or someone that was foolish and stubborn and refused to listen. You know, I hearken, you know, because one thing I'm not gonna refute is the truth. And if anyone showed me the truth, that's what I'm gonna hold to. And you know, I'm just thankful for that, you know, and like I said, you know, I didn't realize that I was, whether it's willfully sinning or not, you know, it's still sin when I was teaching incorrectly and not teaching people 100% truth, you know, and I'm very thankful that them lions jumped on me and slayed me, you know, and that's all I got to say. Shalom.
So you, brother, you just recognize the difference between magic and true power. That word, bro, ain't no joke, because that truth ain't nothing could beat that, bro. You know what I mean? Appreciate you, bro. Shalom. Sister Barbara? Where you at?
Had to get. I'm here. I'm here. I'm sorry about that. Shalom, how you doing?
Good. Thank you. Shalom to you.
Thank you. Yeah, this teaching was an eye opener. I really thank the Most High working through you, you know, to bring this out, because I was into witchcraft, didn't know it, you know, all the astrology, the birthdays, numerology, all of that, you know, and I got away from it. My grandmother, you know, forced, you know, wanted me to go join church, you know, my adulthood, and I didn't want to or whatever. But I went on and joined, and she shouted and all that the day I joined. And, you know, I didn't know she was an Eastern Star and my father was a Mason. I didn't know, you know, what all that meant until not too long ago, you know, what all they did. And my stepbrother is a Mason. So I stay clear of him. And, you know, I just thank you for the Most High for this lesson, because I was into all that and stuff, but I was always searching and seeking, you know, for truth, and I found it. And I was at this church here in Dallas, the one with the, what is it, the fish aquarium in the church. He taught how to speak in tongues. He had a service on how to speak in tongues when I was going there, and that's crazy. But I just want to thank the Most High for delivering me to the truth, because I was always seeking and searching for the truth, and I'm very thankful for that. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you, sis. Thank you. Shalom.
Shalom.
Genesis.
Shalom, Deacon Hicks.
Shalom.
Yeah, I am in college, so you know I see I see witchcraft probably just about every other day. And I was into the horoscopes and into the tarot readings, and I used to hear my grandparents, they still say it to this day, they say, I don't know, it's like if your hand's itching, about to get some money or something like that. So I grew up hearing that stuff. And my friends, because they believe in all that splitting the pole, and I don't split the pole, and it bothers them. I'm just like, nothing's going to happen. Life is going to continue. And they also believe in like something dealing with grapes on New Year's and something. I don't know. And I'm telling them, that stuff is not real. Like whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And ever since last year, I've been telling them that, and they still believe it. And I said, well, has anything, happened since you've done that? No. So I said, why do you still do it? And they don't have an answer. So yeah, I've grown up a lot seeing all of that. It was a great lesson today.
I'm happy that that you're being affected by the truth. So and the fact that you're so young and you come out and you share. So keep doing that. It's good. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Shalom. Brother Trav.
Yo, shalom, my brother. Shalom,
What's
Deacon
good,
Hicks.
bro? Shalom, man.
Hey, man. Yeah, so, yeah, I've was a participant with doing all of the witchcraft and everything. I take full, ownership of that. Because, yeah, I used to, growing up, used to be into all of the things, that my peers was into. I was following suit. So with, like, the stepping on the cracks, the splitting the poles, all of that. And then originally, coming from Louisiana, man, it's a lot of witchcraft going on down there.
Man.
So, man, just my family still into it. I grew up in a house with a lot of like black dolls around, statues, things like that. So, hopefully my family, realize what the light is and they come to the understanding of what, we were all participating in. And yeah, that's just what I wanted to share.
I hear you, bro. It's a lot going on too, yeah, and we surrounded by it. But as long as we stay in the truth and and stay consistent with it, people closer to you might start seeing it, start seeing that consistency. And again, we could be that light. That's what we're here for, to get the truth and to embody the truth. And yeah, we're surrounded by it, bro. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
No doubt, man. Hello. Sister Moody.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom to you.
Guilty, guilty, guilty. Embarrassed, and yet redeemed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guilty because I too have experienced those things. I was embarrassed because yesterday I would still like to think him of as a gentleman that came into the class. I would be mostly like the female part of that. It's very embarrassing. But redeemed because now Heavenly Father took pity on me and gave me wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Because of the teaching that Elder had done, it really helped me to understand the parable about Abraham and his son. It also showed Heavenly Father's humor, meaning when Abraham took the toil of obeying him, he didn't know what was going to happen, as we don't. But the only thing we have to do is have faith and ask him to give us that faith to obey, because he's already got a way of escape already for us. After experiencing all of those things that I experienced this weekend, I thank him for keeping me humble and yet have a long ways to go. Because of my shyness and doing things super properly and trying to make sure everything is I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and I have a thorn as well. It's very difficult on this journey. Family abandoned quite some time, years and years ago. But realizing that the life of Christ is worth it. Because I was unserving, worthy servant. And yet, through the example of Abraham again, he showed me his love. He came in, he took all of that guilt that I did. He took it for me. And the least I can do is to be what he created me to be, a true, faithful, obedient servant, realizing that his life is now my life. His likes are my likes. His will is my will. And asking for strength to continue to do so. I thank you for your teaching. In fact, each and every one of the teaching that goes forth, I realize how much time and effort that you have to put into it. Because dealing with Heavenly Father, I realize if you don't get it right, it's not going to come out. It has to come out the way He wants to come out. And it will. Try not to be emotion here, but realizing once you have walked and you see yourself for who and what you are, it's not a pretty picture. It's nothing to be proud of. And trying to be a proper Christian at that time, realizing now that it was all for nothing. But the great thing is, I did ask the question, who are you? What are you? What is my purpose? Why do you love me so? And I'm glad that He's beginning to give me the answers. And also helping me to realize that I'm with others who are different and some just alike, but we all are having that second chance and praying that we all have the strength to accept what He tells us and to get our names out of those books, because none of us want to be in those books when we come into His presence. I appreciate you allowing me to speak, and I bid each and every one of you a good day.
That was beautiful. I appreciate you especially this morning for that. And yeah, that was a dagger right there that pierced. Thank you so much, Sister Moody, for that, for your testimony. That was very inspirational. I really appreciate that. Shalom to you. Brother Martin?
Shalom, Deacons. Actually,
I'm sorry.
You're
my
fine.
Bad.
I'm on my iPad.
Mm-hmm.
Honey. So, I enjoy your therapy sessions. Let's just go ahead and get it out. Also, too, I'm really just glad that this platform is here, right? Because you created a space for us to be able to just kind of share what's going on with us and things that may have had, that had happened. And just us just trying to correct this while we're on this journey, right? But to have this space and to be able to do so, I just appreciate that. So let's just go ahead and dive right into my foolishness. Oh my goodness. So stepped on the crap, break your mama back, splitting the pole. My mama done drugged me to church when we were younger. I was singing in a choir. I was on the youth usher board. What else I done did? Oh my goodness. I done went in and had my palm read. And Oh my, yeah. So that was the first and the last. Many, many, many moons ago. Um, what else? Foolishness. Oh, zodiac signs. Oh goodness, right? I used to be. You know how you match it up and say, "Oh, this person's compatible with me." When I was
Yeah.
dating, I did that foolishness. I went even far as got a tattoo of my zodiac sign on me. So I do want to know once I finish out my little rant. Um, I want to know if I should get that removed, right? Um,
Yes.
thank you. I would definitely do it immediately. Oh, and remove any other additional tattoos, Elder.
Yeah, that's one of the main ones.
Okay,
Yeah.
I would definitely take care of it. Um, what else? I'm just trying to, it was just so much stuff that came to remembrance. I was like, I am jacked up. Well, I was jacked up. Thank you, Hope. But but yeah,
Yep.
those are some of the crazy things that I did partake in um over my lifespans. Even the lottery, right? Playing the lottery. My mom had a darn dream book, right? And of course, if I have a dream, I go to her, Mom, I had this dream. So what the lottery book say? What it say? Oh, it say play these numbers, and what I go do? Play the number thinking I'm gonna win the lottery. You know, just foolishness. I don't swept my uncle feet just to get a reaction out of him. He chasing us around the house just to spit.
Try to spit on the brain.
You know, like this foolishness, right? Like, oh my goodness, I just cannot believe some of the stuff that I just got into.
Yep. Yep.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. But like I say, I appreciate this space because it is actually helping me come out of my shell. Believe it or not, I am shy. Some people might think that I'm not, but I am. But yeah, so but I appreciate this space though.
Yeah. That was for y'all. So I appreciate y'all input, like I said, every week. So shalom to you, sis.
Long.
Sister Shania.
Shalom, Deacon.
Hey.
Shalom. Hey, hopefully this will be posted. I know most of the therapy sessions are. I was en route. Wow. So I was just picking up, bits and pieces as the teaching was going. But as everybody just began to explain and share, things that they've been going through, a lot of things have been popping up for me. And I'll start I'll start from childhood. Some things had like I actually it came from my upbringing, like from teaching from home and stuff, and other things like just from spending the night over people houses, like over friends' houses. I remember like playing the Ouija board, like Sister Shantae, I heard her mention. I also did that too, spending the night over one friend's house, and even going into, we used to do this weird thing where we would go into the bathroom and turn off the lights and say Bloody Mary. I don't even know. I think it's like some dead lady. I don't even know who that is, but we would do stuff like that. And even with the movie, I don't know if anybody remembers Candyman.
I'm about to
We
say
would we
man's wife, huh?
Yeah, we would do that same thing. I mean, we would do that. I would do that same thing. Also like with the Candyman and stuff like that, doing crazy stuff. Playing games like I don't know if anybody remembers the 8 ball, where the 8 ball will tell you things. It's some weird. But these things had came up, and also even back in 2020, 2021, I had, before then, I say prior to 2019, maybe, or around 2019, I'm not sure the year, I had came physically out of the church buildings. But as far as like the understanding that I had, of course, was a lot of Christianity. So I even looked back. I do a lot of reflecting. So I look back at like some of the messages and some of the conversations that I had. Like I know that um, on Facebook, when you're communicating with people under Messenger, it does have a timestamp and a date. So I even look back at that, like just reflecting back on things that I've done during the time and what time it was. But anyway, so back in 2020, 2021, although I had physically came out of the church buildings, a lot, like I said, a lot of my understanding was still there. So I ended up sitting under a woman. I ended up sitting under a woman who wasn't in a church building, but she would have Zoom sessions, kind of like what we're having, like a Zoom session in the back. And she would have us like doing, like, we would be doing some weird stuff back there. I remember one time I was in like a teaching where I think I told her that I had like a soul tie. That's what I told her, because I was dating somebody and was trying to get over it. So so she had me performing something where I'm coughing. Like it was just coughing up something, like cough up something, and whatever comes up, spit it in a towel and throw it out the house, basically. Some weirdness, some weird stuff. So I did it. I was doing some weird stuff, and my oldest son Zion, he heard me coughing from downstairs. He came downstairs, looked at me like, "Girl, like, Mama, what in the world are you doing?" Y'all ought to see his face. Like, are you okay? But yeah, just wanted to share that. Like, yeah, I was definitely into some weird practices, definitely. So I'm just thankful to be coming out of that and completely leaving that alone. And also, definitely with the horoscopes, with the splitting the poles and the stepping on the cracks, that definitely was something that I learned. Also, and the sweeping the feet with the bad luck, with the you're sweeping the feet with the broom or something. Something just craziness. But anyway, the one of the practices that I think of and I go against, that I have to keep reminding myself, is the purse thing. My mom used to tell me that if you sit your purse on the floor, that you'll never have any money. So now, like, I don't mind. I just sit my purse on the floor. I sit my purse on the floor because before I think I would not sit my purse on the floor. But, think when that thought comes up, like, yeah, I don't mind sitting my purse on the floor now. I like that's not real. So yeah, I just wanted to share that.
That's all good. It's a lot of reflection, and you can see the stupidity of it all, right? When you come out of it. So that's what it's about. So I appreciate you, sister. Brother Ned, what's up, man?
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, brother.
Man, I got to piggyback off a couple of people. I used to, especially when I was growing up, we went to church, and I was a drummer, played the drums all the way up until college. I sung in a choir. Then especially when I got to college, I joined the college choir. Had nothing to do with school. Wasn't get no kind of scholarship, nothing like that. But was singing with this group. We would go to different places and do all that singing and stuff, doing all pretty much just performing witchcraft with our voices. It's a bunch of foolishness. Um, Even on up past that, going to different churches after I graduated school, and um, the most recent church that I had went to was a drummer there and in a choir and doing all of that. And then um, I was caught up in that foolishness on the TV with the Miracle Spring Water, trying to get some miracle performed and all of that stuff, and just straight up confusion, not really knowing and understanding anything. Um, and I will say, once coming across teachings here, it's made things a lot plainer. Because I say prior to maybe 2013 is probably when I actually started reading the Bible for myself. Before that, I had never read the Bible outside of just going to a building. They tell you everybody to stand up and read one scripture, and then, you sit down and whatever case may be, and they just start, pretty much giving their own thoughts and everything on whatever they trying to show that day. Um, but a lot of the horoscopes and all of that, I was into that, when I was younger, but coming now and seeing a lot of the stuff that just none of that stuff brought anything to fruition. There was only um what's the word? It's a movie called The Skeleton Key. Um, and part of that movie was that, you know, whatever the stuff that they tried to do to you wouldn't work unless you believed it. And I had a lot of belief and a lot of foolishness. But the issue was it wasn't working. But I was still believing in a lot of that stuff until the truth came. I'm glad that now, um, knowing what I know now and being able to see and really study and seek these things out and get counseling from all the elders and the brothers and deacons here, that's definitely has helped me see a lot of things and be able to cut a lot of things off that was just vanity. So that's kind of my spiel.
Hey, you, bro. I appreciate your testimony. I appreciate you sharing that. Again, this is for you, bro. You know what I mean? So keep coming back, keep opening your mouth. That's all that matters, man. It's therapeutic. It helps you get purge certain things as well. All right. Brother Taylor, you're gonna be the last one.
Shalom, Deke. How you doing?
I'm good, bro. Thank you.
Oh man, this lesson hit home. Just like piggybacking on everybody else. I'm guilty of a whole heap of stuff. The superstitions, the superstitions, and just doing all types of witchcraft that you don't even know that you doing. I think just like Deacon Jonathan said, you might be hanging around with these cats and you just like, I'm not doing that, but you part of doing it basically. And then you had said about the because I was all in the horoscopes thinking, well, that's what everybody else is doing, so I'm gonna do it, not knowing what it's all about. And then you get caught up chasing stuff that don't it just runs you to a brick wall. And then you like, oh, we're gonna do this philosophy class and all this other stuff. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and you just get caught up into it. But I always keep it short because we know we got the teaching coming up later. When you hit that with the preachers being the preachers being like the sorcerers and stuff, I just thought about when my family took me to the church, and then they're like the false prophet basically said, well, there's an empty lot next door, so we're gonna need all this money, so we get all this money so we can have the lot over here, and God's gonna do this and God does that. And I was driving by it the other day. It's still empty. I don't know where it's been empty. I was like, I'm sitting there like, for real? Like they have like it's the lot, and then there's another building they built over there, but it's still empty to this day. I don't know where that church is at. I was like, yo.
Hey,
I was like, I'm just so glad that, the Most High brought me out of that stuff because he could have left me up in there. I'm like, man, I was just thinking about it. He could just left me up in there. But I'm just so glad that I'm learning truth now, and it just take your time and just make sure you know make sure you comprehend what you're learning. I'm just so thankful, and thank you for letting me talk.
No doubt, bro. No doubt. I want to just say thank you to everybody that that shared today and expressed themselves. And we got to be careful, especially in our own frame of mind, how we can invent things out of nowhere. We got to stay in His word because the word is the truth and is our protection again. All right. So with that being said, let's get ready for this dynamic duo.